This is coverage you can count on. WGAL News 8 at noon starts now.
Good afternoon. I'm Susan Shapiro. A dump truck hit two mobile homes this morning in Lebanon County. Cleona police say the truck ran a stop sign on Shanamantown Road at Clear Spring Road in North Anvil Township. Police say two people were in the homes, but no one was hurt. One man says it knocked him and his wife out of their bed and onto the floor. The Red Cross is helping the residents. Med-Ed was also called to the scene. State police are investigating a homicide in Perry County. Troopers say they found Samantha Fields dead yesterday when they were called to investigate a domestic dispute. Court documents say 56-year-old Douglas Snyder, who lived in the home, is charged with criminal homicide, endangering the welfare of children, and other offenses. The man accused of gunning down former United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year won a partial victory in court this morning. A judge dismissed terrorism charges against Luigi Mangione in New York State case over the murder, but the judge kept the state's second-degree murder charges against him. It was Mangione's first court appearance since the February killing. The Justice Department says it will seek the death penalty against Mangione. The suspected killer in the Charlie Kirk shooting is scheduled to make his first court appearance today. NBC's Morgan Chesky has more.
Yeah, we're here at Utah County Jail, where Tyler Robinson has been held since Friday, the 22-year-old, in a special housing unit where authorities say they can keep an incredibly close eye on him. And in just a few hours, we know that he will be appearing virtually to be formally charged in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Among those expected charges, aggravated murder, which here in the state of Utah does carry the death penalty. And that's important to know because since this fatal shooting began last Wednesday, the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, has been very outspoken about that potential punishment needing to remain on the table for whomever was responsible for taking the life of the 31-year-old conservative activist. In the meantime, we know that there is still the potential for federal charges, but none have been named so far. FBI Director Kash Patel has said that multiple electronic devices that belonged to Tyler Robinson have been seized. However, we do not know if federal authorities have gained the permission to go inside and dig into those potential digital footprints and see what Robinson may have been writing to find any potential motive prior to this attack. We know, according to the governor, that Robinson's roommate, who they believe is his romantic partner, said that they had no idea that he was planning an attack of this nature, saying that they were stunned. There is still much more to come in this investigation, but all eyes will be on Provo, Utah later today when authorities have their press conference about these charges. We'll send it back to you.
Governor Josh Shapiro just wrapped up a speech addressing political violence at a summit in Pittsburgh. He was the keynote speaker at the 2025 Eradicate Hate Global Summit. 8 on Your Side political reporter Tom Lehman is live from our Harrisburg newsroom with what the governor had to say. Tom.
Yeah, Susan, the governor was not only denouncing political violence against anyone, but also speaking about his own personal experience being at the governor's residence when it was firebombed earlier this year. He also spoke about the assassination attempt of President Donald Trump and, more recently, the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. He also spoke about some of the rhetoric that has followed after the killing of Kirk. Now, Shapiro took the stage earlier today after being introduced by former Governor Tom Corbett, who was among the people who Shapiro said aided him following the firebombing at the governor's residence. Shapiro talked about the emotional impact of political violence following that event and how it affected both he and his family. He said all political violence is unacceptable, but he also says more needs to be done to fight extremism, especially online. He said it is impacting young people and unfortunately leading to violence.
It leads to a belief among some that the only way they can address their problems is through violence. They find online those who glorify violence and urge it on. What starts with cowardice keystrokes too often ends up with a trigger being pulled in our communities.
Shapiro said a lot of the rhetoric that followed the killing of Kirk, including, he says, from the White House, simply is unacceptable in the sense that he says it is creating a situation where people are looking at each other in terms of being enemies. And again, he said that this is one of the things that he wants to see toned down as far as the way people are talking about each other. He believes that there needs to be more respect shown. We'll have more about that speech later today, but for now, in our Harrisburg newsroom, Tom Lehman, News 8.
Thank you, Tom. Work starts today to fix up the Sheepford Road Bridge in Cumberland and York counties for pedestrian use. PennDOT says crews will start by clearing trees in Lower Allen and Fairview townships. The West Shore Historical Society launched the Save Our Bridge campaign in 2020 after inspectors said the bridge was unsafe for vehicles. The project is expected to be complete in the spring. Looking live from our Skycam network, it's a little cloudy out there today. Meteorologist Mike Susko joins me now with more on the forecast. Hi, Mike.
Good afternoon, Susan. Today really depends on your location. We have some isolated showers around as we go into the afternoon here, and especially south of the Turnpike. And then tomorrow we are watching for more scattered rain showers as a low pressure system moves on through. And as we head towards the end of the week, we're looking at warmer conditions. Temperatures get back into the 80s here as we go towards the end of the week. In Lancaster, though, as we go through the afternoon, I am watching for some showers. We already have the clouds in place. Temperatures are actually kind of right where they should be for right now. It's 75 in Harrisburg, it's 73 in Lancaster, as well as Gettysburg, and pair of 7s up in Lebanon at the moment. Storm Team Live Radar Network, though, showing some light showers, southern Lancaster and York counties here as we go through the afternoon. So Quarryville, for example, Dover there in York County, probably getting a little bit of rain at the moment here. That is the part of a low pressure system that's coming up the coast, and that will continue as we go into the afternoon. So we're going to continue with the clouds and a few rain showers here and there. Highs I expect to be right around 78 degrees as we go into the afternoon hours. You can see the shower chances remain overnight tonight. We'll time it out and show you when the dry weather returns coming up in just a little bit, Susan.
All right, thank you. York City Council is considering new rules for vape and smoke shops after community members raised concern about sales to minors. News 8's Gabrielle Thomas has more.
Community members say minors have been getting their hands on products that vape and smoke shops sell here in downtown York. Now the York City Council is looking to put some new rules in place to address the issue. This proposal would limit where incoming vape and smoke shops could open within city limits. According to the proposal, new zoning changes will permit vape and smoke shops from opening within 500 feet of schools, churches, daycares, and similar shops. City Council documents say the new rules will restrict minors from having easy access to products that those businesses sell. News 8 spoke to a York City resident who says he's in support of the proposal as long as the decision doesn't affect adults' free will to purchase products.
Yeah, for the schools, for sure. I think that would be a good call. The kids see it, they get attracted, and we know it's bad for us, and I don't think the kids should be doing it, wait till they get older to make that decision. Board
members of the York City Council will vote tonight, and if passed, the bill will move to the mayor's office for consideration. The City Council meeting will be held here at City Hall at 6 o'clock. Reporting here in downtown York, I'm Gabrielle Thomas, WGAL News 8.
Student athletes at private and parochial schools in Pennsylvania will now have the opportunity to take part in sports at public schools. The PIAA will make the changes as a result of a court decision. News 8's Jacob Hunziker has more on what it means for students.
Back in July of 2023, religious families filed a federal lawsuit against the PIAA, arguing their children were missing out on athletic opportunities and should be allowed to play at public schools. Until yesterday, students at those private or parochial schools were unable to participate. Now they are, so long as that the sport that they're trying out for isn't already offered at their private or parochial school. Thomas Breath, an attorney for the families who filed that original lawsuit, says that his clients are celebrating the decision.
They couldn't be happier to have their children participate in these activities. And the feedback is that the homeschool districts, from their athletic department the whole way through their administration, their coaching staff, they've been nothing but welcoming of these students. They're thrilled to have them there. So it's a really positive, I think a really positive thing for both public education and those that are pursuing religious education through their parochial schools.
And in a statement to News 8, the PIAA confirmed its agreement with those affected families, writing in part, quote, "The PIAA Board of Directors are working towards a broader resolution with bylaw changes that have moved forward," end quote. Brett says that he expects the PIAA to finalize its bylaw amendments by October, with a final resolution issued shortly thereafter. Back to you.
Actor Robert Redford has died at the age of 89. The Hollywood Golden Boy, who also became an Oscar-winning director and supporting of independent cinema, died this morning in Utah. His publicist did not provide a cause of death. After rising to stardom in the 1960s, Redford was one of the biggest stars of the 1970s. And we'll have more on Robert Redford's life and career in our next half hour. The Federal Reserve may lower interest rates this week. A two-day meeting of central bankers begins today as inflation is on the rise and the job market appears unstable. News 8 Washington correspondent Rachel Hersheimer explains what to watch for.
Over the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing President Donald Trump applying unprecedented political pressure to the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates.
It's absolutely critical that the Fed stay independent of politics.
Some economists predict the Fed will cut its benchmark interest rate by a quarter point, mainly due to data suggesting that hiring has slowed in recent months. Others worry the central bank could be pressured by politics.
Presidents can and will, if they can, use the Fed to try to accelerate the economy during election years and use it to their political advantage.
The Fed's mandate from Congress requires the central bank to seek both stable prices and full employment, which means lowering interest rates so it's cheaper to get money to hire people, but also easier to borrow and spend money, which drives up prices. Meanwhile, there's tension between the president and Reserve Board Governor Lisa Cook. President Trump's been trying to fire Cook for allegations of mortgage fraud. Cook has denied these allegations, and new evidence this week in loan documents refutes the president's claims. An appeals court overnight ruled Cook can keep her position unless the Supreme Court steps in. Last night, the Senate also confirmed a top White House economic aide to the Fed's board, Stephen Myron, to fill a vacancy. The interest rate announcement is expected to come tomorrow afternoon. In Washington, I'm Rachel Hersheimer.